Coming up tonight on Primetime Local News, a hip-hop dancer is teaching his moves to elementary school students, plus an outlook for the rest of the fall and winter in Lloydminster, and this week's edition of Pet Project.
Primetime Local News, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Hello and welcome to Primetime Local News. I'm Lane Hoffert. A hip-hop dancer came to a Lloydminster elementary school today to teach the students some cool moves. I was able to check out the fancy footwork myself. Queen Elizabeth elementary students got to learn some exciting hip-hop dance moves from Tyler Layton Olson, a hip-hop dance instructor out of British Columbia.
Today we are working with kindergarten to 5. And I get about, after we warm up and everything, about half an hour to teach them a routine. And, I try to break it down and make it fun for them, pick a song that I think will work for everybody.
For Layton Olson, teaching students hip-hop dances is more than just about getting them to learn the moves. He says that getting everyone to dance together helps kids create a connection with one another through having a fun and exciting shared experience.
It's just, connecting with people and getting to share dance. And, I've realized, by the time it's all said and done, it's going to be probably 1,800 kids that I've gotten to teach, and that feels very special to me, getting to share it with that many people.
Hip-hop dancing is good for more than just students building connections. The high energy and wide variety of moves makes the dances a great form of exercise.
The arts are really, really important, and we thought it would be great to bring a dancer in to be able to work with the kids, get them moving, get them excited, get them engaged, and when you watch the kids, that's what they're doing. They are 100% into this with Tyler today, grooving and having a great time.
In all of the excitement of learning new dances, students at Queen Elizabeth were sure to pick up some favorite hip-hop moves.
Probably when we were doing all of the spins. Yeah, it was pretty fun.
Lane Hoffert, Primetime Local News. With fall now upon us, the chilly winds of winter approach ever closer and could bring a lot of snow with it. Our Thomas Wildman sat down with a meteorologist to learn more.
Today I'm joined by Peter Quinlan, a meteorologist for Global News, and he is here today to give us a look at the forecast for Lloydminster coming up over the rest of the fall and winter. And so thank you so much for joining me today, Peter.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Thomas.
And so we're halfway through October now, Peter. What is the forecast looking for the rest of this month?
Yeah, so we are going to start to transition, we'll call it, in the days ahead. And as we look ahead into the rest of this week, we're going to see these teen temperatures kind of lingering through the middle of the week. Then Thursday, we'll get into a bit of a dip with a cold front and a risk of some rain. Then as we work our way into your Friday, looks like we'll get back pushing toward those double digits and actually a decent weekend. So this is the weekend to get your yard work done as temperatures jump their way back up toward the teens at times. But then it's next week that we start to see a bit of a pivot toward below seasonal temperatures. An average daytime high this time of year in Lloydminster is around 10 degrees. So we will be half that at times and even less than that at times. So highs, we're talking just a few degrees above freezing some of these days. So next week we will see a cool down. Then the following week we could see an even bigger cool down with highs struggling to get above the freezing mark. And then the last week of the month, which includes Halloween, could be a cool one as well. And there is the risk of snow in those last 2 weeks of the month.
And farmers here in Lloydminster would definitely like to see a bit more moisture for their future crops and pastures. What are we looking at for the amount of snow that is going to be coming down this winter here in Lloydminster?
So it's difficult to pinpoint this far in advance exact precipitation totals, even with snowfall amounts. It's hard even a few days in advance to get a really general trend. So right now we're looking at a chance of some flurries here or there. It doesn't at this point look like anything major, but there is the potential for some more substantial snowfalls at the end of October. We'll have to kind of refine that and do a wait and see approach. As for the overall trend as we look ahead into winter, it does look like we'll start to transition toward a colder than normal trend temperature wise as we move toward winter, and some models hinting at a snowier than normal winter, others less snowy, but overall the pattern could be a little bit more favorable for farmers this winter.
And finally, with those flurries that you are forecasting, when should people start worrying about needing to bundle up more and throw on their winter tires for the coming winter season?
Good question. So I think you should probably start booking in those cars to get the winter tires on right now, because sometimes they're backed up weeks, and you need to get those on because there is that potential for a significant snowfall at times in the next few weeks. Really, the last 2 weeks of October is game time when we could see heavy snow, but we may or may not. It's just the time you want to be prepared for that, and it looks like we'll start to see that pivot point where we stop hitting those above freezing daytime highs probably at some point late October into early November. So it's also a good time, maybe this coming weekend or next weekend, to start pulling out those warm winter woolies.
Thank you so much for all the information today, Peter, and hopefully we can see a little bit of moisture for our farmers here in Lloydminster, but hopefully not too soon, so that we can still enjoy the fall weather.
Yes, agreed for us all. Thank you so much for having me, Thomas.
A Canadian musician is making a stop at the Vic Juba Community Theatre next month. Stacey Comer spoke with Shayla Miller to find out about the performance and her new album.
I have a special guest today joining me on Primetime Local News. Shayla Miller is here. Shayla is going to be performing in Lloydminster coming up November 7th at the Vic Juba Community Theatre. Shayla, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, Shayla, you have been busy lately. I've been trying to line up this interview and you were here and there and all over the place touring and performing. So we're excited you're going to take some time to be in Lloydminster. And for those who don't know about you or your music, tell me a little bit about what they can expect for the show here in Lloydminster.
Yeah, we do kind of like a hybrid of multiple genres. For a long time, I was basically mostly writing like classic country style inspired country music, alt country, very 60s, 70s inspired stuff. And but always kind of with like a little bit of a dark flair to it, and honest, wear your heart on your sleeve kind of lyrics. And growing up, I didn't always listen to country music, and I wanted to kind of expand on all my different loves of music and do more of like a synth new wave kind of hybrid with country album. So at the shows, what we've been doing is just like a combination of all the styles, because we had released a few albums already of the country stuff that people love. So we kind of are, melding and molding the set list together so that everyone can hear some of the old, some of the new. And at first, when I started to embark on this new journey, I was actually pretty nervous of how the sets would flow, if it would actually work together. But I think ultimately, at the end of the day, what works is that it's still me, my voice, and my songwriting. So even with, even like the more synthy stuff, we still have a pedal steel player. My voice is still me. So I think it's, I don't know, it kind of works. So really, I think that most people, if you haven't heard me before, and say you don't like country music as a rule or something like that, most of my fans say, I don't really like country music, but I love your music. So I think with the new addition of the synth and the stylings I'm writing in, it kind of expands the audience in a way that I'd say, not to sound funny about it, but I think that as a huge music lover myself of all kinds of music, there's kind of something for everybody. So that's kind of nice.
All right, and you released an album back in March after the Masquerade, and I know that you said you're working on some new stuff too, but just tell me about that album itself. Was it different? And because you talked a little bit about how you've gotten away and you've added a little bit more of the synth and stuff. So is that more in this album, or does it have some of the traditional stuff too?
That's the album that we decided to do this whole open new chapter thing. And it still does have some of the traditional flavors of how I write and my voice and such, like I was saying. But it is, for sure, it's a departure, but it's still like a sister, not like a long distance cousin that you just found out about. It's they work together, the catalog is just like expanded in a beautiful way. So yeah, After the Masquerade is what we've been promoting all year, and that is a lot of what we'll be playing at the theater, but we'll also be playing songs off Big Hair Small City and Bad Ideas, my other records.
Now you are working on some new music too. I find that to be with artists, even though you put out an album, you're still working on new stuff. So will we hear any of that as well, or is that stuff that you're still in the initial stages?
It's still really in the initial stages, and haven't really announced it, but I will say that we're working on I don't know, should I say it? Well, we're working on some remixes.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, and it's gonna be kind of like a chapter 2 of After the Masquerade, but it will also have some new songs on it. And no, those are not gonna be played. They're not ready yet. So yeah,
All
but
right.
that's coming out. That's coming up, and we're working hard on it.
Well, Shayla, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today, and we're so excited to see you here in November. If people are looking to check out your music ahead of time and learn a bit more about you, where can they find that?
They can find it anywhere online that you stream music. Anywhere. There's lots of really cool music videos on YouTube as well. So Spotify, Apple Music, and just to check in on anything that we have going on, you can just go to my website at shaylamiller.com.
All right. Well, thanks so much for chatting with us today. And
Thank
again,
you.
Shayla Miller, November 7th at the Vic Juba Community Theater in Lloydminster. Shayla, we are looking forward to the big show that night.
Now let's take a look at your pets of the day.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to have them featured on Pet of the Day.
Abby St. John is back at Border Paws Animal Shelter for our weekly edition of Pet Project.
I'm back at Border Paws Animal Shelter for a weekly edition of Pet Project, and today we have the squirmy little E.T. She's part of a scary group of cats that were left. So please tell me a little bit about her story and then her personality and what her best fit would be.
So she is a very wiggly little worm, very playful, very cute. Unfortunately, this little one and 4 siblings were carelessly dumped in a parking lot. But fortunately enough, they made their way to us so we can take care of them and give them their best life until someone brings them to their new homes. So this is E.T. E.T.'s a little girl, and she's very sweet, and she's very, very wiggly.
Yes. Yes, she's very playful too.
Oh, she wants you.
And she's just moving over. What would her best, what kind of family would she be best with? Kids, other animals? Yes. Is she pretty open really anywhere?
Yeah, she gets along with the other cats pretty well. Litter box trained, very playful, would definitely do well in a home with kids for sure. Hasn't been really tested with dogs yet, but of course, we can do meet and greets and stuff like that. Like if it's an older dog who's not going to be right up in her face, she should be absolutely fine. She's very curious, very happy, playful little thing. She's so cute.
And she is so sweet. I feel like she would be like those videos where you see toddlers or babies being best friends with their cats. I feel like she would fit that scenario so well. I think she would definitely make a little child their best friend. A little bit sassy, but she certainly is just so sweet. Needs to grow in her ears a little bit, but it definitely adds to her personality, and you know, she doesn't let anything get her down, it seems. So very, very cute. And she has unique spots as well, unique coloring as well. She's adorable, and she would definitely make the perfect companion or pet for a family. Now,
absolutely.
Unfortunately, going on to your sick fund, you guys have a fund that you guys use for in cases of emergencies with your animals, whether they need surgery or any kind of procedures. Unfortunately, due to an incident, it's now kind of depleted. So tell me a little bit about why and what you need from the public.
So we do have a sick and injured fund, and that is 100% used to go towards any medical care that our animals may need. We did have a dog that had a run-in with a porcupine, and it was quite extensive. She's had to have multiple procedures. There's also a cat that is requiring some dental work, and those things are very costly. And being a nonprofit, we do rely on the public's help for a lot of that. There will be a link up on our Facebook page that can take you directly to our Sick and Injured Fund, and we would greatly appreciate it if anybody could help, even a little bit. It does go a long way, but you know, sometimes we need a little bit extra help, especially when unexpected things pop up, like porcupines.
Yes, for sure. And those things really are unexpected, and sometimes that happens in those emergencies, and you don't anticipate some of those things. And so having that fund is definitely vitally important because it's for the animals. It's going towards helping them be healthy and ready to move on to their forever family. I think we have E.T. underneath the chair right now, hiding, but it is important that fund is always topped up. Now you have a couple adoption events if anybody is in the market this fall or winter for a new animal. You have 2 adoption events. One coming up this weekend at Pet Value in Vermilion. So tell me a little bit about that, what people should know, when is it, what times and days.
So I believe it'll be starting at 10 a.m. We're gonna have some of our staff there with some animals at Pet Value in Vermilion on a Saturday and Sunday. So it'll be a great opportunity to come out and see these little munchkins and maybe find your new forever friend. We're also doing a week-long event at PetSmart. Those ones are always super fun. Like, we always have a really good turnout for them, and we're looking forward to seeing everybody come out and seeing all of these precious babies, because as much as we love them, we need to get them out of here and into a good home, because shelters, as wonderful as we are to take care of them in the meantime, we are just a layover. So they need you. And we greatly appreciate anybody coming out just to even take a look or post their pictures. If you know anybody who might be in the market, let them know. These little cuties are here just waiting.
Yes, for sure, and it's the perfect time as well as it's, you know, getting into fall and stuff. Definitely a great time to get a cozy, cuddly friend as well. Now, donations. What are the donations that you're currently needing? I believe you desperately need dog and cat food.
Yeah, so we need absolutely wet and dry kitten food, as we do have quite a few kittens in our care right now. We also really need the Canadian Naturals lamb and brown rice dog food, and our salmon and sweet potato cat food, also by Canadian Naturals. We like to keep them all on the same thing. It's a lot easier on their digestive systems, so they're not switching between foods a whole lot. So we would really prefer to have some of that. Poop bags, things like scrubbies, bleach. We're also in need of the 2x2 gauze pads, things like that, gloves. We have quite a few gloves, so we're good on that. But yeah, just we'll also have an updated list posted on our page of the other things that we might need.
And finally, this is probably the most exciting topic that we will be talking about till it comes, but the Halloween haunted house / shelter, that's definitely coming together very well. So tell me a little bit about the progress, what people should know, and if you need anything else and or volunteers.
So we absolutely are still looking for volunteers. People want to help us set up, run, and take down our haunted house, which will run from the 26th to the 29th. I have a sensory time set aside from 1 to 3. So if anyone has children who are on the spectrum, like myself, who don't like people jumping out at them and stuff like that, there's an opportunity to walk through the haunted house with all the lights on and everything and still get to experience it without all the extra spooky stuff. The regular haunted house times will be from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. There is a liability waiver, so be prepared to sign that. We've got lots of creepy, spooky props and things, and actually, as we're talking, I have people bringing in more stuff right now, so it's gearing up to be pretty awesome. I'm pretty excited, and I think it's going to be an amazing event.
I think so too, because you guys have the building now to do those kind of events, and you know, it's just so much, it's just a unique and fun way to raise money and also celebrate a fantastic holiday. I'm definitely biased. I love Halloween, so this is definitely very exciting. Now, if anybody would like to volunteer for the event, how can they get in touch with you to start that process?
So you can email us at info@borderpaws.ca, or you can give us a call. Our phone number is 780-875-2809. If no one answers, then leave us a message and we'll absolutely get back to you.
Wonderful. Well, I'm very excited for this event, and E.T., I have no doubt that she'll make the perfect addition to any household. She is just so fun to be around. She runs around carefree, and she's just so playful but also sweet at the same time.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining me, and E.T., thank you as well.
Thank you so much.
That's all for news. Sports is next, but first, here's a look at your closing market.
Today's oil prices are brought to you by First General Services.
It's now time to take a look at your 3-day forecast. Tomorrow will be breezy with a little bit of brightening with a high of 12 and a low of 2. On Thursday, we have a 55% chance of a bit of morning rain plus some wind with a high of 10 and a low of 0. That high of 10 and low of 0 will continue into Friday without the rain, and it will be mostly cloudy. And that's all the time we have today for Primetime Local News. Thanks for watching.